What if China did not just build cheaper cars? What if it helped change what a car is? Because for a century, Germany and America were not just making vehicles, they were selling the definition of a good one. Hi there. Today we're looking at why Chinese car makers made some of the old giants feel weirdly old. And I do mean weirdly, because if you grew up around car culture, the old map felt almost permanent. Germany had engineering, America had scale, trucks, muscle, and the confidence of a person backing into a parking space that is absolutely too small. Japan and Korea had reliability and value. China for a long time was treated like the factory in the background. Useful, huge, important, but not the place people expected to define the future of cars. Then the future showed up wearing a battery pack, a giant screen, and a price tag that made the old boardroom go very quiet. So first we have to remember the old scoreboard. For most of modern car history, greatness was mechanical. The engine mattered, the gearbox mattered, the way the door closed mattered. The badge mattered too, even if everyone pretended it was only about engineering. A premium car was basically a rolling argument that metal, noise, leather, and heritage could become a personality. German automakers were incredible at that argument. American automakers were incredible at their own version of it. Big platforms, big trucks, big margins, big cup holders, big emotional support vehicles for people who might one day buy mulch. And to be fair, that old game created some amazing cars. This is not a video where we pretend the old giants were stupid. They were not. They were just very, very good at a game where the engine sat in the center of the kingdom. Then the board changed. An electric car does not care about the old kingdom in the same way. The battery becomes the expensive heart. The software becomes the mood of the car. The screen becomes the handshake. The supply chain becomes the secret engine room, and suddenly the company that can move fast, source batteries, update software, cut costs, and flood its home market with experiments has a different kind of advantage. This is where China becomes scary for the old car world. Not because every Chinese car is perfect. Not because price is the only thing that matters, but because China had a gigantic home field laboratory. According to the International Energy Agency, more than 11 million electric cars were sold in China in 2024. That is more than the whole world sold just 2 years earlier. And electric cars were almost half of all car sales in China that year. Just sit with that for a second. If you're building EVs in a market that big, you're not making a cute side project for early adopters. You're training in the main arena. Every price war, every battery choice, every dashboard idea, every weird little feature, every consumer complaint, all of it becomes feedback. The market becomes a gym. And Chinese automakers have been doing reps while some Western companies were still deciding whether the treadmill looked profitable. This is the part that makes legacy automakers uncomfortable. China did not just get one thing right, it stacked advantages: battery supply chains, domestic scale, government policy, aggressive competition, fast model cycles, and a customer base that got used to cars feeling more like tech products. Meanwhile, a lot of German and American car companies had to defend two worlds at once. They had to protect the profitable old world of combustion cars, trucks, service networks, and luxury trim packages, but they also had to chase the new world where the car is part battery, part phone, part living room, and part software update that hopefully does not ruin your Tuesday. That is hard. And honestly, it is easy to see why they hesitated. If your old machine prints money, you do not wake up excited to replace it with a new machine that eats capital, lowers margins, confuses dealers, and makes everyone ask why the app is broken. But hesitation has a cost. Because while the old giants debated the future, Chinese EV makers were making the future cheaper, and price matters in a brutal way. Not because people only buy the cheapest thing. People love brands. People love quality. People love the feeling that a dashboard was designed by someone who owns a ruler. But when a new competitor offers a sharp-looking EV with good range, a modern interior, fast features, and an aggressive price, the old premium story starts sweating through its nice shirt. Suddenly, the question becomes uncomfortable. Why does this car cost so much more? Is the old brand really worth the gap? Is the engine heritage helping me when the engine is gone? And that is the nightmare. The old brands did not lose their history. History just became less useful in the part of the market that was changing fastest. A golden piston is beautiful, but it does not lower battery costs. A legendary badge is powerful, but it does not automatically make the software feel modern. 100 years of engine genius is amazing, but if the buyer is comparing screens, charging, range, warranty, price, and monthly payment, the museum starts looking a little drafty. Now, the fair version of this story has to include the politics. China's rise did not happen in a magic free market snow globe. Industrial policy mattered, subsidies mattered, local supply chains mattered, domestic scale mattered, and Western governments noticed. The European Union imposed countervailing duties on Chinese battery electric vehicles. The United States raised tariffs on Chinese EVs to 100%, and you can argue about the fairness of that all day. People do, but tariffs are also a signal. They are what happens when the smoke alarm goes off and everyone pretends they were just testing the batteries. If Chinese cars were not a competitive threat, nobody would be building tariff walls this tall. The panic is part of the proof, but here's where I think the story gets really interesting. The West still has real strengths. German automakers still understand highway refinement, safety engineering, premium interiors, and brand trust at a very high level. American automakers still know trucks, scale, fleet sales, and profit machines with tailgates. Tesla still proved that an EV could be desirable before a lot of traditional car makers wanted to admit it, so this is not an obituary. It is more like an awkward family meeting where the older relatives are still impressive, but someone younger just walked in and changed the Wi-Fi password. The old giants can adapt, some already are, but they have to accept that the scoreboard changed. The customer is not only asking how does it sound, they are asking how fast does it charge, how much does it cost, does the software feel alive, does the interior feel current, will the battery age well, can the company update it faster than my phone gets bored? That is a different competition, and Chinese car makers did not wait politely at the edge of it. They rushed the field. The uncomfortable truth is that China made some Western cars feel old, not by being perfect, but by being adapted to the new rules. The car became less of a mechanical monument and more of a rolling technology platform. And in that world, speed matters, cost matters, batteries matter, software matters, the factory matters, the old badge still matters too. It just does not get to be the whole argument anymore. So when people ask how Chinese car makers outpace Germany and America, I think the answer is not simply they made cheaper cars. The better answer is they made the old car industry defend the past while the present was still moving. And once the market starts moving like that, heritage can become a seatbelt. Useful, important, but not the engine. So yeah, that's my take. When the car becomes a battery, a screen, a supply chain, and a software loop, old greatness still matters, but it no longer gets to be the whole scoreboard. Would you trust the company with the better engine legacy or the company moving faster right now? Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.